It's hard to imagine that in a little over 2 weeks, I've gone from this to this in my goal to get all my vegetables from my backyard garden. So let's begin the tour, starting with the spaghetti squash. They're growing, but not as well as I would like, and I had a hand in that. It's suggested that they don't like root disturbance, and in order to thin out the number in the bed, I had to move them around, and I don't think they liked it. But they seem to be vining and growing, just a lot slower than I expected. And over here are the summer squash. They highlight what will be a recurring theme of companion planting of peas and beans that create nitrogen with plants that are heavy nitrogen users. The summer squash are doing just fine because I didn't move them as much. And it's almost as if they know my plan for the trellises and have started to make their way outside the bed. Over here is one of the spaghetti squash plants I moved, and I've done companion planting with marigolds. It's funny because I grew marigolds and started planting them with everything against pests, and then read this research paper where marigolds planted with legumes stunted the growth of peas and beans. So I had to go back and move all the marigolds far away from the peas and beans. So, spaghetti squash, summer squash, along with marigolds. And on to the long beds. I guess you could say this is companion planting on steroids because I've got corn mixed with peppers, mixed with peas, mixed with more corn, next to collards. Years ago, I used to do square foot gardening, and I was surprised how you were able to grow stuff fairly close together. I will have to provide a lot of nutrition because it's a raised bed. Other than that, we're going to see how it works out. And over to the next long bed. Once again, corn with strawberries and marigolds. More beans this time, and then kale along with corn. One thing I'll add here is that you can clearly see the importance of soil preparation. The corn here was planted first. I prepared the soil, but didn't prepare it nearly as well as some of the later beds. So this corn and this corn were planted first. This corn was planted later using better soil preparation techniques. So, you live and learn. As you can see, I've planted peas with corn as a companion plant, and the corn will support the peas, so everybody helps everybody. Over here is an extra box of tomatoes I set out. I planted basil as a companion against pests that I will thin out later to maybe put in some of the other beds or just in pots along with all the marigolds. Again, thinned out tomatoes from the original pot I grew my seeds in. And a second bed with tomatoes, basil, and corn. Now there is a method to my madness here. I'm in Florida where the sun is aggressive, so I'm using the corn for shade. So even if I don't get one ear of corn, the stalks will shade my tomatoes. And over here are the peas. And I have to say, they have really taken to the string supports. Some of them did need a little guidance in the beginning, but now it's like some of them are saying, "Oh yeah, this is a good idea. Let me go up." So they're doing really well. In no time, I will have 3 walls of peas. And more summer squash. When I thinned them out, I couldn't just throw them away. And finally, the cucumbers. I reclaimed this wire cage from another planting season and decided to use it rather than building something. And it seems to be working quite well for the cucumbers. And because cucumbers are heavy nitrogen feeders, I've put in peas and beans as companions for added nitrogen. We'll see how it goes. And I forgot to mention my friend Liz from Hoeing and Sowing Gardening sent me some sunflower seeds that are here and here and here. So I should have lots of pollinators. And the final thing is something I've noticed. I bought the adapter so I could continue to use the sprinklers as well as the water wand, but have found the wand is a lot more precise and allows me to both water around the roots and inspect the plants for pests while I'm at it. So I don't use the sprinklers at all, but you never know, so I'm leaving them in. So as you can see, I've really been working hard in the garden and think I've earned a van adventure. So I'm taking off for the weekend. See you next time.